Keys to being an artist: hydrate yourself with good old water, go for walks, and work out. I got to do the third point a bit more often, according to my wife. So here we go. What we're going to do is I'm going to look for Procreate brushes, and I'm going to just go stamps. Okay. I'm going to type that in and see now that you can go to a bunch of places. And if you want to support the artist making these brushes, go ahead, join their Gumroad, buy them on Etsy, buy them on a whatever Gumroad, Etsy, ArtStation, DeviantArt, wherever they sell, and you want to support them, absolutely go in. I've done it myself multiple times. Creative Market as well, Envato as well. There's so many, but there's also so many free ones. And there's even how to make your own stamp. What I want to do is I just want to go ahead and just put something in there like tree stamps. I'm going to put in some tree stamps. I'm going to find it here. It's on the Procreate folio. Here we go. Look at this. And guess what? I've already got this. So that's the best thing here is I've already gotten this for myself. And I've used this for many, many storyboards. It is fantastic to use. All you got to do is click and go get here. This is what you want. Get it here. It's free for everyone to download. This person has made a lot of effort to make this great brush for everybody. Go ahead, and if they have an online site, follow them and go ahead and give them a few bucks, buy them a coffee, right? So let's go back here and let's just clear our layer. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and find our tree brushes. So what we have here is we have the tree brushes. And we just got to find these. There are so many. I have Magic Lands for building mapping, a geometric universe with all of the sacred geometry images if you wanted something mystical. I have paper textures on here. Space Odyssey with space and shapes, right? Abstract planets. It just basically looks like a bunch of rocks that if you just go ahead and just do a big brush, there you go, looks like a planet from far away. That's all you need, right? And all you got to do is tap once. But what we're going to do is we should actually just download. Well, I'll show you what the trees look like first. So let's find tree set. Here we go. Tree set. Tap with your finger. There you go. Or tap with the pen, or change the size, tap. And because it's a separate layer, you can go right ahead, keep it on uniform, and change the shape, change the size within the page. And when you look here, you're going to see there are a bunch of different, and as they have layers and levels, they have the gradients happening here. If you can see this, you have that gradient happening right now. And that's what's really great with a lot of them in these brushes, that they do have these gradient levels. And then you have your singular trees. And if you want to just, like this, there's a bit spaced out. We're going to go over and import a new brush and do this from scratch so you understand what you need to do in order to make really quick ideas come about. So let's just find a brush. And let's go right ahead and find... there's also a site called Brush Easy. Brush Easy. Here we go. Photoshop resources forever. This is a site I go to all the time. But good thing is you can import Photoshop brushes into your Procreate. So if I were to go to brushes and just go stamps, let's just see what happens with stamps. And a bunch of these are free. Premium is what you pay for. And here, look, there's already a bunch of stuff that actually looks like stamps. I don't want to stamp it. 8 stamp brushes, top secret. I do a lot of stuff that's going to be I do a comic book called Black Project, and it's on Global Comics right now in Kindle. And what I like to do is I like to have a lot of stamps, and I like to put this out there and use it within the comic page. I've done about 500 pages of comics within this. This is my own self-published stuff that we've gotten kickstarted successfully twice now. And the funny thing is that it's a conspiracy comic, and I like to have a lot of these conspiracy theory elements play as a baseline for the story to tell the story, not about conspiracies though. And I need stuff that says top secret. So if I need a top secret or something like that, I just got, oh, I lost the page. So if when I get something that says top secret, I want to go ahead and make sure that it, oh, download. So there we go. It went to another page, right? Just turn that off. But on your original page there it was. Download, okay, done. So tap on the arrow here. I'm on Safari. If you're on Chrome, you got to find your, if you're on your iPad using Chrome, you got to use the download folder, find it. On Safari, automatically, the circle with the arrow pointing down, meaning download, is going to show up right there, okay? So all we got to do is tap on stamp and brushes. And here it is. It's going to show up brush portal. Tap it. It's unzipped it right away, right here. Tap it again. And we have a couple of the things that we have here. We have where it says brush portal URL, the text, and of course, ABR. That is what we want. We're going to tap stamp brushes, Photoshop, ABR, and it immediately imports into Procreate. Once we've imported into Procreate, we got to scroll past my billions of others here of stamps and brushes right here. Now, as we see here, it looks like a stroke, but it's not a stroke. What it is, it's just all of that same image repeated over in a stroke-like pattern. So to change that, we got to do a few things first. So what we do is we'll start at here, created by brush portal. We see spacing and we see all of the brushes, right? So what we've done here is we've gone here, tapped on that brush, and we've showed up with the brush properties. So let's go see, look at this. This is the spacing. Oh, confidential. As we increase the spacing, we see the word confidential. So we got to play with some of the settings here, right? Now, I've done the spacing like that. I've done 1 and I've done to max. What I like to usually do is go to properties and use stamp preview. Tap. As you can see, all I had to do is go tap right there. That's all I needed. Tap. That's all I want to do when it comes to a stamp brush. Other brushes that have a specific texture that you want to give to gradients or charcoal, what have you, or ink or splatter, you're going to want to use the brush stroke. But I increased the spacing. As you can see, it's spaced it out and it just says confidential. I'm just going to clear my drawing pad. Tap. Just want to make sure of that. Tap. Preview size. I want to go to 50%. Just tap. Go 50. Okay. Materials. Make sure tap. Use stamp preview. Orient to screen is there. Smudge and pull is there as well if you want, but it's a bit bigger. Brush behavior, minimum size, all of those things. Materials here. All of that's there. Click done. It shows, boom, confident. Boom. Confidential, not confident. There we go. There we go. Confidential. Big. Wow. When it goes to, unlike Photoshop, if you make something bigger than the actual canvas size, your image or your brush stroke will actually exist outside of the canvas size. Unfortunately for Procreate, that's not the case. It's my only real big gripe that I have. So what I do is if I want to make sure that something's going to fit within the canvas, I'm just going to make sure I can turn it down, and I give it a couple of tries. If I want to have one, that's good enough there. This way, if I want to change the scale, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that bicubic is there so it keeps the edges. Otherwise, it goes fuzzy. Okay? Confidential, I'm going to put that right there. So that's one thing for a stamp there. Then what I'm going to do is go down to the next one, tap. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and go properties, stamp preview, preview size, tap. And this is now with a double line. Now it's with a double line. Confidential, right? Increase it, confidential. There you go. So this is how we do this for these brushes. Tap, brush, stamp, preview, stamp. Tap. That's it. Now we're getting different versions, right? Confidential. That's how we want to do that. We just want to tap it. All we got to do is download it, tap on the brush, properties, just to make sure it's there, stamp, preview. When we have a stamp preview, we know exactly what we're looking for. And then when we tap it, we're able to use what we need. That's all this is. And this works for brushes of buildings. It works great when it comes to brushes that are trees, environment, mechanical. I have done mechanical like you have no idea. Instead of having to draw a mechanical type room, I've gone ahead and used the brushes to do that for me. And that has helped me so much. It is not funny. And I'll show an example of that. So again, tap on the brush, go to properties, brush properties, done. Tap to double check. That's all we need to do. So when it comes to certain brushes that I like to use, sometimes for some shows I've needed something to get done really quickly. I did a TV movie with a football player in it. It was one of those Hallmark movies, and a football player fell in love and her dad was Santa, or the owner of the football team was Santa. I don't know, it's Hallmark, right? So basically I needed to get it done within a week. I was away on family vacation, got the job on an email, had to come back right away. 2 days later I ended up having a meeting with the director. It was a football movie, so we need to get some football poses. So I went ahead and I'm like, how am I gonna download the image, put it as a layer and quickly trace around it, or just find myself some football poses? And that's legitimately what I did, is I found myself football poses, and that helped me so much that it got the job done faster. And I have a bunch of them here like that. And then if there was a shot that called for this and I had my basic panel drawn that had if I had go back to my pen here. I can't wait till the new update comes out and I have my favorites up here, because then I'll be able to use my favorites all the time. So if I had like football player here, like this, like that, fingers, and carrying the pigskin like this, right? Got big guy like this. Hips, this, and they're just racing forward like that. And then he's gonna hit the other guy like this. It's like, like that. So I'm gonna have these notes like this during my meeting. But then what I'm gonna do is when I come home, I'm gonna go ahead and like, oh, which one did I have here? All right, that works. I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna lower it, and then I don't want it to look exactly the same because I don't need that person there. So what I do is I go right ahead and I just create another layer, and I just get my basic shapes, and I'm able to add my arrows a lot cleaner. And we'll do another episode here about how to get your arrows in motion so people understand movement from panel to panel. Arrows are such great language, and if someone tells me you don't need arrows, then that person doesn't know what they're talking about. And I can promise you this, 10 times out of 10 when someone says get rid of the arrows, they're confusing me, they shouldn't be directing or running a project. I promise you this right now. Anyone can debate me, you're still going to be wrong. And I'm only saying that I'm right because of 20 years of experience of the industry, working with people that have said, thank you for those arrows, it really helped everything. Thank you, because I needed the arrows to understand where we're going to have motion here and this way. It helped me understand, and I learned from the best, which was, we showed that in the Star Wars book review with Joe Johnson's artwork, where he had arrows all over the place. And it helped because it helped with motion, it helped with action, it helped with timing and editing. So this is what we do in order to get our stamps. So let's try and find some buildings or mechanical. Let's go to mechanical. I'll show you another example here. And mechanical objects. We got a bunch of these pipes. So if you want some pipes in the foreground, it's great to have, like, I've used this myself as well. Pipes in the foreground like that. Just darken them up. If you want, if it's too bright, you just got to darken them up like this, and add a different kind of pipe. And these are all just stamps, right? I just stamp like this. And I want like an erratic type of, I want an erratic type of shape to establish a foreground that's not going to be as distinct. We just want some sort of hanging cable or element that we kind of like, oh, this is a cool looking shape. I'm just going to go like this here. No, I'm going to go like that. And I'm going to go maybe add some other kinds of like this. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to use some of the selection tools here. Tap there, tap there. Use the selection tool. I'm telling you, this is one of the greatest things in Procreate is this selection tool. I'm a huge fan of this thing, and it helps me. Hey, look at this neat little foreground element. What I want to do now, I want to merge those, go like this, and I want to go ahead and make this sort of like those out of focus, dirty, what we call dirty over the shoulder out of focus elements in the foreground to show like a bigger space. And I'm going to go ahead and add some mechanical flooring. So I have stamps here, and you just make sure your stuff is labeled properly so you don't get confused. We got Nature Studio here, Magic Land Ship, Glitch. If you want to simulate a videotape thing, which we have done, is I've added TV grain so people understood that panel, that frame, with the point of view of seeing it off a TV screen with video fuzz on top. That's what we use that for. Especially when we got something like the date and the fast forward button and loading. Always a big help here. Retro style cars, fall leaves, and I'm just going to go ahead and there's bullet holes, super helpful if you want bullet holes like that, bigger with a bit of wall texture, or shrink it, make it look like it just, you know, you have a shape like they fired around things. This is every 90s action movie. All the walls, there you go, shot around the good guys. Every episode of the A-Team, if Mr. T was right here, they all shot like this around it. There you go. They always miss these guys. Always shot around them on the floor. So we're going to go Mesh Shape Pro is one of the stamps I absolutely love using. So Mesh Shape Pro is being my saving grace if I wanted paneling on walls. It's just saved my ass. So if all I do is tap, make it as big as I can. I don't want it too big. I want it to be big enough, but I don't want it too small, right? So when you grab it here, you put it here, it's a separate layer. And I want it to make look, this is a part of a wall. I click on the arrow and distort, and I'm gonna go like this here. Like this. And we're gonna play with perspectives. So we'll talk about perspectives. You know, we're gonna have a vanishing point about here, like this, like that. So we're gonna have a vanishing point about there, like this. That's cool. We got some paneling. We'll add another layer, just separate the layers. What we'll do is we'll add some something for tiling for the floor. And I think something like floor tiling. You know what? Honestly, I think something like this. Okay, what's really cool is you just hold down, don't let go. I'm going to do this again. Take a look here. Tap. You got some space. Hold down, and it goes like this, right? Don't let go. Don't let go of the pen. Don't take it off the screen. Finger down. There you go. There you go. That's it. Hold down, and it lines it up. It aligns. That's what you want to do there. So what we'll do is we'll just double this. We'll just double this. And click here when you tap on the arrow. Snapping and go magnetics, or just go snapping. And when we do this way, look at this. It goes, ooh, it snaps. So it's gonna align it or take off snapping because it restricts it. And magnetic at least will line it up this way. That way. That's what we want. Here we go. Merge them down. Now these two are now 4. And what we'll do is we'll duplicate. And we're gonna duplicate the layers a few times like this. What we'll do is we'll duplicate, move it up. And then what we'll do is merge down, up, down, up, down, up, down. By doing this, by using these shapes and using these stamps, we're establishing overhead shot looking down at an area. And it's not going to look perfect. If you look closely, they're not even, okay? We don't need it to be. It's good enough. This is a bit too dark. So what I want to do is I want to just kind of go back to the magic wand here and just bring up the saturation and the brightness a bit like this, okay? I'm going to make sure that this is going to be a layer below this, and this is the outer layer here, the top, and the top right will be on the very top layer, and then it's a wall layer, and then we're gonna have the floor, because technically you want that, and you can separate these things better. We're gonna tap on the arrow, go back to distort. Here we go. Take off snapping, take off magnetics, and what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to match the perspective here, like this. Just here we go. And so what we're doing is we're establishing that we've got a tiled floor, and if it looks like it's perfect or not perfect, I mean, what I'm saying is it's not gonna be perfect. It's just gotta be good enough, okay? When it's good enough, and we can even reduce that opacity, just like this. Just we don't want it too much. We want a hint of floor paneling, floor tile. And then you can go ahead and change what you're gonna do afterwards. So what we have here is now a camera angle looking down. We have the camera angle looking down through some wires, out of focus, because our focus is gonna be here. Okay, we got a hint of the walls right there, and then you can go ahead and change it with the shading and everything else. If you want to shade it, we're just going to go right ahead and make a new layer, move our merged layer of all of those elements. We got to move that to the top. So sometimes moving it up helps, moving it down. How do we move layers? Hold down, drag, hold down, drag, and then let go. So that is the top layer. This is the bottom layer. Let's do a gradient. Let's go like that. Tap, choose your color, and then drag and drop. Hold down, drag and drop. That's what we want. What I like to use is another brush as a brush, not a stamp. Another brush called Copic. This one, cumulative Copic marker, glazed Copic marker by George, Clayton Henry's colored pencil, and Clayton Henry's ink bleed are two of my other ones I love to use because they got that nice chunkiness to the inks, and I love using those as brushes. If I want comic lines, I use Robert Marzullo's Ram inks, and those are available on his YouTube page or his Gumroad, and he's a great artist as well, great teacher online. I've been following him stuff for years. So what we're doing here, we're gonna go change this a little bit darker, and we're just gonna increase the brush all the way and just see what we have here. We're gonna go like this, like this. Let's just see. I just wanna see. I'm just kind of playing and exploring here, okay? Oh, we got a bit of that. We got a little bit like this, just establishing that. And again, if you want a straight line, hold down and you can then edit your line. Tap edit. See, we've played with a stroke. Stroke, hold down, and it creates a line. Stroke, hold down, makes a line. That's all we need to do. And I'm just using this. I'm using other ones that have a nice, like, fuzzy chunkiness. One I like is spray paint, and I use medium nozzle. And that basically helps me with giving some noise. It's a brush with noise, so it's not a perfect clean brush. And that helps me just sort of establish things like, not just noise, but texture, and makes it more tangible to people. When they see it, they think you've hand-drawn it. You have hand-drawn it, but they think it's done traditionally on paper. And if that were the case, this would take so much longer for us to do. So much longer. I like to play with the curves a bit. Like this. Darken it a little bit. A little like that. Just kind of play with the levels. And I'm just going to, since this is the upper layer, I'm going to go multiply. And just see how it all blends in a bit more. And now what I'm going to do is on top of that, I'm going to add a lighter color. And I'm just gonna use this lasso tool freehand and go like this, and then like this, right? Tap on the circle. Now we've selected this area, made a new layer, drag and drop, there we go. What am I doing here? What I'm doing here is I'm gonna go ahead and tap on the magic wand here, and then I'm gonna go right ahead, Gaussian blur, blur that, and then I'm gonna add, tap it again, noise, play with the noise, add some noise, add a bit of noise. Now this is a normal layer, and I want to go ahead and check what it looks like with screen, color dodge, or add. Maybe color dodge and bring it down a bit. And then I like to play with the layering of this and shrink it. Double tap to undo, go back to uniform, keep it on uniform, go to distort a bit, like this, go to warp, and let's just go add lighter overlay. I just like to see what helps give the effect that this is in fact going to be a light with the fall off, right? And maybe select both of them like this. Select one, select the one above it, you've selected both. Tap on the arrow, uniform, shrink. Tap on the green and rotate. Maybe I don't want the light coming from that side. I've got a lot of negative space, right? Maybe I don't want it coming from where the cables are. Maybe I want to have it coming in from here. So since I already took the shape that way, let's flip it and see if this works here. So it looks like someone is actually searching from this area. And let's just go to warp. So it looks like here. And if you want it, you can add more points by going advanced mesh. You have more control points here. See? They give you so much more control. You don't have this in Photoshop, right? And let's just have uniform. Let's go like this. Let's just go that way. So how about we do one more thing we add to this? Let's add a person. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it almost dark all the way. And I have something called people or human shapes. Bear with me as I find it. And by having human shapes, it's really good just to populate a scene, and you want to have like just a crowd, an indistinct crowd. They don't have to have detail or face to it. You just sort of basically want the outline of people. People shape pro. I believe I paid for this one. So what I want to do is go through it, and I'll find all these images, and I'll want to see if there's a single person here that I could possibly use. Maybe this one here. Make a new layer, and I'm gonna see the shape right there. It looks like this. So if I go there, and I want to go ahead and shrink this, maybe distort it a bit. Like that. Maybe that's exactly what I need. It looks like he's transparent because he's actually on top, underneath, a layer underneath here. He's underneath the floor and the paneling, so that's why we see the stuff. He's below it, so we just bring it on top. Or bring this below him. There we go. And maybe we should bring these guys above. Like that. Oh, but they look like they're underneath. So the key here is just to make sure you keep that right there. It's okay if it illuminates the floor. We want to see the floor, but we want that top thing to stand out there, right? We want this to stand out. So it looks like maybe he's got a flashlight. Another one I like to use that's actually built into Procreate is their luminance, and they have a really great flare. You can download more lens flares, but I'm a big fan of their lens flare. It's been pretty great in what I need to use it for. It just adds a bit of this dynamic lens flare here. And what I want to do is change it to an add. Screen or an add. like this. So I'll just go on top. There we go. So it looks like it's coming out of that. That guy is possibly holding a flashlight. So how do I make the blend in this dude a little bit more? Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and tap here, magic wand, just give a little bit of slight blur, slight blur, right? And then I wanna go ahead, duplicate his layer, and then I'm gonna distort it and go with the, just a bit like this, right? What we wanna do is we wanna distort it and give it a bit of his shadow coming out from this area here, right? Just like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and blur a little bit more. It's these tiny little details that actually help sell the image all at once, right? So we just added that image using some stamps. In just a few minutes, we got a shot, we got a scene, we have some ambience, and we have a story being told. Someone's entered this room and they're looking for something and the lights are off. But it looks like someone is watching them. When we see the cables, it's the perspective of something hiding up high above, right? Think of Newt in Aliens by James Cameron. And that's kind of the same idea there too. So here you go. That's what you do with your stamps. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. It doesn't take long to do, but it'll take a few minutes the first time around. Just remember to go here to your brushes, tap, properties, stamp preview. And just make sure that when you're gonna stamp, stroke path, your spacing is plenty. You have a lot of room between it. If it's gonna be a texture brush, you wanna keep the spacing closer, right? If you want them apart, move it apart. Give more space, okay? Make sure you got your spacing, go to the properties, stamp preview. That is it. How to use stamps for Procreate for your project, getting it ready. Use it for buildings, cars, forests, environments, textures, doesn't matter. A few minutes and you can have a scene and you can start telling a story, okay? It's not gonna be perfect, but it's a starting point to getting your project done and on time. Thanks for joining me. I had fun. Hope to see you guys soon. Remember to like and subscribe what you see here. If you like it, leave a comment. We read the comments. We're always responding. If you have a request about what you want to see here and some sort of insight from the industry after 20 years, let me know. I'm more than happy to give back. So please like and subscribe, follow, hit that bell for the next video, and keep making great art, and I'll see you in the next one.